Okay, we are currently working on this fill filter on the C4 Corvette, and I kind of ran into a dead end only because I wasn't prepared with new O-rings, and at this time of night we won't be able to find any or get a hold of any, so hopefully tomorrow we'll get the O-rings and finish it up. But real quick on what I did to remove the fill filter, you have a couple size 10 millimeter nuts that hold your fuel lines into place, and they run along the body here. So what I first did was I removed 3 of them. There's one back here, there's one like somewhat in the center, and then there's one closer to the fuel filter.
I think it's 2 or 3 screws that are holding them 2 lines together into place. And I just ran, here's another one I ran into, I think it's gonna be 3. This is number 2, and then there was another one towards the end.
So I went ahead and removed all 3 of those, which gives you more play with the fuel lines later once you start removing other things up here. It helps remove the fill filter. But so I removed those 3. After removing those 3, I took off a bracket that holds your fill filter into place as well.
And this is the bracket that was wrapped around that fill filter. And what I did was, after unscrewing that screw, it sits like this, but underneath this line and wrapped around the fuel filter. After unscrewing the screw, what I did was I scooted it off into, basically off all the way off the fuel filter. And once I had it here clear from the fuel filter, I was able to just kind of like move it out like this, and then it came out.
So removing those 3 size 10 millimeter nuts, I removed the bracket. The bracket, I believe it is a size 10 millimeter as well. And now you are able to get to your fuel filter. I'll show you here in a minute. I was able to get to the bottom nut of the fill filter, but I really didn't have enough room to remove the top nut of the fill filter. So in order to actually remove the fill filter, what you're gonna have to do is remove these fill lines. Removing these fill lines with the proper tool. This one here is the fill line to the top part of your fill filter. So you remove these, and what you're gonna do is when you remove the bottom nut to the fill filter, in order to remove the top nut, you're gonna have to feed this down, and it's gonna give you better access to your fill filter. You're actually gonna have your fill filter back out this far, and then you'll be able to unscrew the top nut to the fill filter. This is the old fill filter I just removed, and if you look at all that right there, you see that? See how dirty that gas was? This is the O-ring that came off of the old fill filter. This is what I'm gonna be replacing. I went ahead and picked up the O-rings. The size that I'm gonna be using is the 5/16 is what will seem to fit the fuel line. And what you do is you grab your O-ring and you put it here on the tip of this. There it goes, just like that. Now what we're going to be doing is getting our fuel filter. We're going to be taking that little plastic off. and screwing that tight so that then we can put the fill line back where it goes. Then we'll be crawling underneath to tighten the other side. Okay, I already went ahead and replaced the fill filter. I didn't really record having to use two hands, but I did have to disconnect these two fill lines in order to remove the fill filter that's down in there. It made it a lot easier, only because there isn't any room when you have to get to the top nut on that fill filter. So removing these lines, I was able to feed this fill line down and remove the whole fill filter out. But I already went ahead and got it on. Let me see if I can get under there and show you the new fill filter. There it is. There's a new fill filter. I got it on, connected. I went ahead and replaced both O-rings. The one for the bottom nut and the one that's on top towards the engine. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and tighten all these little nuts down. Get the lines back in place. Removing this and disconnecting the fuel lines from up top, I was then able to grab the fuel filter and pull it out, feeding that fuel line through the engine bay. That way I was able to get to that top. Let me see, that one up there, that one up there, because it's kind of hard to get to without disconnecting those fuel lines. And then when replacing these fuel lines back into place, you just want to push them in until you hear it click. Here, I'll show you. So you just grab your fuel line, push it until it clicks, and you're good. And then just cover it with this rubber boot that it comes with, that it has here. Just like that. And that's connecting your fuel lines that sit above the engine. They sit right on top of the engine. You have a size 10 nut right here, and this bracket holds these two fuel lines in place. You do want to remove these whenever you go to take these fuel lines off. You're going to want to remove these little things off the bracket